Please be seated. This is such a favorite passage of ours. I thought we might try just a little different. Do you make signs? I need a new sign. Nah, that one's fine. Wine steward. It's good. I don't want to take that down, but I need to add to it. I mean, I'm a good steward. I know where all the good wine is made. That little place over the hill with the old guy who makes the really deep stuff, he only makes it about every couple of years, and it's small quantities, but that is where the good stuff is. And that place that's over in the next valley where everybody gets their wine from, it's not really that good. I mean, I know all the details. If you need wine, you come see me, David Ben Johann. I will get you good wine. Weddings, you want wine. I know that some people nowadays are going for the beer out of tradition or other spirits, but you want wine. You see, wine comes from the vines, and they have to be planted and tended for years until they produce a good harvest. Wheat, you pick it 1 year after you plant it. You make beer out of it. It's nothing. It's short term. Wine tells the story of long-term relationship. To make wine, you go into the groves and you pick all those grapes, and then you have to work it. You have to knead it and crush it and bring it into life. Wine tells the story of what relationships are like. These couples getting married today, they have no idea the work that goes into a long-term marriage. It's work, and wine. Wine tells that story. It's not just putting some grain into a bin and letting it ferment by itself. That doesn't tell the story you want at a wedding. Wine tells the story. And then, of course, there's the warmth that it brings, the richness that it brings. It fills your whole mouth and palate. It reminds us of the joy that is marriage, that is love, that is relationship. It fills us and brings us joy. Yeah, that beer, that'll do that, but wine is what you want. I know good wine, but the sign, it's not good enough. You see, it was back in Cana at that wedding. Beautiful couple. I knew her father. I've known him for a long time. Mother, they're good people. They work in the next village over. And the bride, lovely person. In fact, her mother is a cousin of mine somewhere. I've seen them at different things. And so there's a good couple coming together, and everybody was there having a good time. They trusted me, even though I wasn't the chief steward. They trusted me to sort of work with them and get just the right thing. And for the budget, for what they wanted to do, I had chosen just the right wine. And the things were unflowing nicely. The conversations were flowing. I could look out and see the joy of everyone attending. The jugs were getting a little low. They kept on going. Were they drinking a lot? Were they just thirsty? It wasn't all that hot. Did they give me the wrong count? Did I leave a jug somewhere? Oh my gosh, it was going to be horrible. You see, what happens if you run out of wedding wine is that people talk. They say, well, you know, that's the couple that they didn't have enough wine. They must not have enough joy. They must not be willing to work enough. There's something's going wrong with that marriage. Or they'll talk about the father. He's too cheap to buy enough wine. Or they'll blame me. That idiot, never hire him again. He didn't have enough. He doesn't know how to calculate enough wine. It was probably going to fall on me because I was hired to the job. They're in relationship. And people talk about weddings. There was that time back many, many years ago when the guy unscrolled the wrong scroll and he read about adultery instead of faithfulness. They still talk about that wedding. There was going on, and so I knew this would go on for a long time. I wasn't sure what to do. I saw it all going bad, and in my anxiety, this woman comes up to me. I plastered the smile on my face. She said, "You're running out of wine." I was like, lady, tell me something I don't know. And she said, listen to my son. He's going to tell you what to do. Now, I knew her. She lives in the next village over, Nazareth. It's not too far away. Her husband is a carpenter. I bought some tables from them a couple years ago. Good work. And I had seen her son over the years growing up, and now he was pretty big. He brought a lot of friends with him. I'm not thinking, what does this guy know about wine? I mean, if I wanted some cups chiseled up, he could do the job, but what does he know about wine? And yet, she was so calm. And so when she walked away and he looked at me and told me what to do, it had that authority to it. It had that calmness to it. I thought, what do I have to lose? So he told the servants to fill those jars, the ones that we use for purification, to fill them with water. Now that's a lot of water. And I thought, this is crazy. This is absolutely crazy, but at least I can drown myself in them when all this goes crazy. They filled them with water. I saw the water going in, lifeless, clear, without any vibrancy going in. And then when they drawed it out, I smelled first. I smelled the bouquet of 100 vineyards at harvest time. It was the smell itself just told me of the bounty that was there. And then the color, it danced. It didn't just sit there as one color. It had the nuances. And then when I tasted it, only one time in my life, it was many years ago, I was visiting that winery that's outside of Jerusalem. He had a very good harvest one year, and he had put aside the very best, and at great cost had put into caves to age at just the right temperature, and he was selling it to the palace. And he said, hey, you want to taste something good? Sure. That was a taste of the wine that was going to the very highest people. That was what this stuff tasted like at Cana. It wasn't for people that are just hanging around in some backwater town. It was made for nobility. And I saw it being served. I saw the miracle of water to wine, and then I saw the miracle of the abundance of God continually, the joyful expression of people being together. I saw that continuing. I stood there between what was miraculous and mundane. I tried to make sense of it. There was a lot of wine. Those people would have gotten into a lot of trouble with all that wine. My job is to make sure they don't get in trouble. But there was a lot of wine. And so after that wedding, the very next week, I had another wedding. It was a shepherd. He had no money. He was getting married to a lovely young lady. I'm sure they're blessed these days. But he looked at me sheepishly with just 2 little coins and said, can we at least have a cup of wine? I said, buddy, got you covered. We pulled out the good stuff. Those shepherds didn't know what hit them. There was still more. 2 weeks later, I had another wedding, and then another month, another wedding. That stuff lasted. In your day, it'd be like 1,000 bottles. That stuff lasted for wedding after wedding after wedding. And people always told the story of how it was, and I had to go back and tell them where it came from. I had to go back and explain to them what the abundance was, what the joy was, what the continuation of blessings were. What the sign? I think it should be wine steward. No. Steward of wine and of God's grace. Because really, that's what I am. Anyone is who has seen the miracles, the presence of God, the transforming effect that they have on people, on our lives, on our very mundane existence, and brings miraculous presence into this world. Yeah, steward. Steward of wine, steward of faith. Can you make that sign?